Billy Carson, who some might consider an ancient civilization expert, recently recounted his firsthand experience with two alien beings in his living room. Now, be warned, this is a trigger warning. For some of you, this is a tough watch. He gets very emotional recounting this story and how it affected his life. So for some of you that may have had similar experiences, again, just be warned. If you're new to the channel, y'all, and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day. And please hit that like button, vetters. That really helps out the videos. So thank y'all so much for the support there. And of course, comment down below. What do you think of Billy Carson's story? Can you relate to it? And again, one last time, I issue a trigger warning to this. All right, let's just hear the story. Let's go.
I had a second experience in 2010, which is well documented. I've talked about it. It took years to come out about it because I basically lost my whole family over this.
No way.
Yeah.
You came out of the closet?
Yeah. No, Diddy.
Just, it's a comedy podcast, okay? Andrew Schulz, he's a comedian. These other two, this is what they do, so don't take offense. Billy Carson's handling it well, right? So don't take offense. This is what they do. It's a comedy podcast.
No.
But yeah,
tell me, what happened?
So 2010, I came home. I was working on this big project called Fort Terra Nova, which I built. And Fort Terra Nova, it was on the History Channel, a Countdown to Apocalypse, the Nostradamus episode. And anyway, so I was working on this project. I come home, I'm looking at ESPN, and I'm looking at sports. About 9 o'clock p.m. All the lights turn dim, the TV turns off, and I thought my kids were playing a trick on me because they lived up in the room behind me, up on the second floor. And I look up, and there's nobody there. When I turn around, there were these two beings right there.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And, whew. Man, hold on.
Whoa.
Sorry.
No.
What do you have to freak yourself, man?
No.
So they were right there. I'm sitting in a chair about this high, so they were right here in my eyes. And
Yo, Alex is freaking out right now. What the fuck? This is wild. Okay.
All right, let me get myself together.
No, take your time.
So they were there. They had the big almond eyes like you see on TV. I swear they did.
So you had two beings in front of you.
But they didn't look like they were real eyes. They looked like coverings of some type. And they didn't communicate with me through any kind of telepathy that I can tell, but I felt like my brain was shaking in my skull to the point where it started hurting, and I started screaming, but no sound was coming out of my throat. I can feel the air coming out, but I couldn't hear it myself.
And you were awake during this period? You
I
weren't
was
taking
awake,
a nap or anything like that?
taking a nap, no psychedelics.
Of course, yeah.
And my whole house, everyone was in. My wife at the time, my ex-wife was in the bedroom right behind the next wall. My girls were in that side of the house, a split floor plan. My boys were in that side of the house. The house was full of people. Nobody heard us or anything. I was screaming. A few seconds later, it stops, and they turn around, and they don't walk like a person. They kind of dangle. So they kind of dangled away, and they went right through the wall. And then, boom, the TV comes back. The lights come back to normal color. And that's when I went running around the house, and it was just traumatic for everybody, you know. And it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. There was other reasons why, but I ended up my one son, Giovanni. He's told me I'm scared to even come around you, and still to this day, he rarely ever calls me or comes around. It's kind of like I lost my son. I made no money off of this. I got no exposure off of this. That's why I kept it quiet for so long. Lost my family. Created a lot of dissension. I remember we were on the highway one day, and my wife was driving at the time, my ex-wife, and she slammed on the brakes, and it was like, just get out of the car, because the kids were scared, and I was like, I'm sticking to my story. I'm not changing my story because this really happened to me, and they just didn't want to hear it. But her parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, so everything was of the devil.
Yeah.
Wow. So there you go. I don't know. What do y'all think? That's it's a crazy story. I'll put a link in the description so you can watch the full interview. They talk a little bit more about it, but that's pretty much the gist of it. They just kind of get into the UFO topic as a whole. But I found that quite harrowing. I'm not gonna lie. That hearing stories like that deeply affects me, man. Especially you could tell that really affected them, and I'm sure many people have had to deal with this, right? You then have to tell your family or friends, and now probably tell you you're crazy, and so you start doubting yourself, but you want to stick to your story, and how does that affect the rest of your life? That's tough. That's a tough, you know. I'm curious if anyone else has had similar interactions where, you know, they were muted, right? He said he was screaming, but he couldn't hear anything, but he could feel that he was screaming. Has anyone had any instance like that? And again, he said it felt like his brain was shaking. That's interesting, right? The way they waddled, the eyes being covers, not necessarily the eyes. I don't know. Quite fascinating, right? They turn off all the electronics. They control the electronics, and they could apparently just present themselves. And then they waddled away, which is interesting. Why wouldn't they just poof away like they poofed in? But they waddled away. But anyway, I'm not here to pick apart a story. It's interesting, you know, and you could tell he's very emotional recounting it. Again, trigger warning for those. I guess too late now, but yeah, I don't know. I find this particular instance fascinating, if I'm being honest. That story is fascinating. So again, I'll put a link in the description. Go check it out. Y'all let me know what you think. All right, guys, we'll see you on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day is a gift. Peace.